Today, I welcome each one of you to the CEO Talk. This is the Startup Special Edition. This is an initiative brought to you by the Talk. My name is Anmol Garg. I'm the co-founder of a company called Sales 5X, which is into sales training and consulting, and I'll be a moderator for today's session. CEO Talk is a platform that helps sharing ideas and insights to transform organizations and to create a better and transparent forum for meaningful business relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Tele Business Services. It's the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for businesses. With services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, security, IoT, and marketing solutions, Tata Tele Business Services offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. With that, I would like to welcome all our panelists for today's discussion. I have with me Mr. Vikas Bagaria, the founder of Peesafe. As and when I call out names, let's hear a round of applause. I know this is a virtual meet, but let's keep the applause going. I have Mr. Sekar, founder and creator of Voxit Media Tech Private Limited. Mr. Pushpak Dagade, CEO of AlgoBulls. Mr. Sundarajan, founder and CEO, Chennai Shared Office.com. Mr. Dr. Ramalingam, MD. He's the MD of Labgenius Diagnostics Private Limited. Come on, can we give a huge round of applause for all our panelists who've joined us today? I now invite Mr. Kshitish to, he's the General Manager, SME Direct Sales Enterprise Tata Tele Business Services, to deliver the welcome address.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And good afternoon and warm welcome to all the panelists as well as the participants for this particular event. This is, if I'm not wrong, this is the 23rd CXO roundtable we are having from Tata Tele Services and with Talk. And earlier we used to have these sessions, predominantly they were face-to-face and they were spread across all the country year after year. And definitely the pandemic has brought us to really align ourselves to the new way of doing business. And we all have been bored to death by the term called new normal, right? And but on the other hand, if you look at it, we also have hope, which has risen so high that it has reached. We have found our ways to really do our businesses differently, and adversity, we know that brings in a lot of challenges, right? For all of us, it is true. However, adversity brings in challenges. Challenges brings in a lot of innovations around. Innovations to really manage the customer touch points, innovations to redo the processes, innovations to bring in alternate products or services on table, and definitely innovations to cut cost. Basically, everybody would agree to that. I'm sure we all have also a completely new set of vendors, suppliers at our home front. Everybody would have at a home front would have completely new set of suppliers. It would be a definitely different way of ordering our green grocery. It would be definitely a new way of selecting a barber, or for that matter, multiple data connectivities at home. But all this has changed the dynamics altogether for businesses. If you look at it, it has changed dynamics for large organizations. It has changed dynamics for small organizations and definitely startups, right? And so today I'm looking forward, in fact, to look at all the valuable experiences from all set of different diverse set of businesses today represented here in terms of looking at how all of us have risen to these challenges. And definitely it will be a fantastic, valuable session for definitely the participants and for Tata Tele Services, which has looked forward to such sounding boards where we can listen to the core requirement of our customers and create products and solutions for meeting the needs of such customers. So with that, over to you.
Thank you, Kshitish. Thank you for setting the precedent for this discussion. Can we give him a huge round of applause? Okay, let's now dive into our roundtable. The theme of today's discussion is rising to the challenge with the tech advantage. To all the panelists, the format of the discussion is very simple. I have about 5 to 6 questions, and I would love to get your views on each of these questions. A humble request to everyone to keep your answers short and crisp. This helps us to hear out from everyone, and we can also wrap up on time. All right. So with that, let's get started with my first question. My first question, which is a quick 90-second take from each one of you. How has the pandemic affected your business? Okay, maybe I can start with Dr. Ramalingam. I think we can get started on a happy note. So I'm sure we're in for a growth story. How has the pandemic been for you, Dr. Ramalingam? If you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes, the pandemic really having a big impact on even though it's a medical field, the people who of knowing the pandemic is getting spreading, and people are not moving out. We know that, and even for their own testing also, they are not there for healthcare. Their own health purpose also, they are unable to visit the hospitals because all the even the clinicians, doctors, everybody scared and nobody looking the patients, and hospitals also shut down that time. So, but the actual pandemic, understanding the pandemic, if you see there is a lot of enormous information from the media. All those things makes the people to think of in a confused way and all those things. And we got a bad hit in the pandemic as I started lab. The people, especially our staff, first of all, the staff all left home. That is the first problem we faced, because we cannot stop. They want to leave to their native place. Everyone they faced. So even though you want to do our service for the patients during the pandemic, we cannot able to hold our staff. That is the main problem we faced. And because of that, we are unable to do the service for first couple of months. So we, unless there is a technicians is not there, our process may not be happen, even though we are having all automations. So it's badly hit for the 2 months. And after that, we have started for applying the certification, all these permissions for COVID testing. So because of that, we resumed our process again. Because of the COVID testing process, that is a main diagnosis for the COVID, and is testing is important. Government also stressed us a lot for the testing. We increased the testing so that again our business has come to the track. This is the overall picture I can give about that.
Right. For us, a lot of time it's easy to assume that the grass is always greener on the other side, that the pharma industry is doing well, but yes, happy to know that at least this has taken back to your numbers and the revenues are growing. Coming to you, Mr. Vikas, maybe you can also speak on behalf of a lot of startups that you work with.
Yes, thanks. I think pandemic affected everyone. Many of my startup they forced closure because of they were into travel or hospitality businesses. But talking about us, 25th of March when the lockdown happened, and I was out on 29th of March, right in front of my warehouse with an order from DC to open the warehouse. What we did on 28th of March, I personally called, in fact, my leadership personally called each and every guys who works in warehouse. We had a team of 50 people. And we sent the cars with a special permission which we received from the DCs and bought all of them near the warehouse, and we checked it into an Oyo hotel. 29th of March we reopened, and from 29th we haven't shut down. But I can tell you that each and every week we are getting a COVID positive in our office. But that also didn't scared us to start and going in, because we are into hygiene business, right? We were doing mask and sanitizer for last so many years. Toilet seat sanitizer was one of the product, which is of course is good. But yes, now when we see the scale which we reached, in April, May, and June, and up to July, that has come down. So I'll say the pandemic has resulted in hiring many people during that particular period. But yes, now we are asking them to, or we are, absorbing them somewhere else, because we hired close to 600 people in 3 months. And then this is all on short, this thing. So yes, for pandemic, I won't say it was a windfall, but yes, we raised to the occasion, and we went out without fearing about our lives to make sure that the products can be delivered to the doorstep of who is needed. So I think yes, it gave us the execution might. Yes, if something's big order comes in, we can able to execute. I think that's the learning for us.
Sure. So all in all, you're smiling.
Of course, not because it made our business good, but yes, it's a 9 years effort. When hygiene,
Right.
nobody was talking about it. Now, unfortunately, COVID made people realized that hygiene is important. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out. Shyam, you've been working with a lot of startups closely, and now, of course, you've got your own podcast. A lot of content creation, content consumption as well has happened during the pandemic. So can you give us perspectives from both startups and with respect to the podcast as well?
Oh, sure. Yes, I think a pandemic has not only just hit the super rich, but the super poor. So absolutely everybody were brought onto the mat. There is no differentiation, number one. Number two, yes, there are a number of startups and small businesses that were terribly impacted, and some virtually closed down, especially like Vikas said, travel, tourism, and entertainment industries seriously got impacted. And so the point is, it's like this. We can't do much about what's happening outside. The controllables are less. So what is that we can do from our end is what I always focus on. And I have asked even some of the large hotels, 5-star chains, even during March last week, I had suggested them that you should look at, bringing in patients and continue the business running. This was way before even the numbers were reported to scare people around. So it's all about the opportunities to see, but end of the day, when the cash flows are coming down, it's a question of how to cut down on resources and how to increase your runway. Coming back to our own startup, incidentally, we could foresee what's going to happen. Having been working in this industry for quite a while, thankfully, I was able to shut our operations from office on the 10th of March. So 2 weeks even prior to the lockdown, we actually shut our office and we continued the work. We prepared quickly what needs to be done and how do we keep our employees safe. So remote working also has challenges. So we had to put plan in action and get things going, because we don't know what is happening, what are we going to face. Now we have some clarity, but absolutely we didn't have any kind of an idea as to how the whole thing is going to change. But having said that, it was good time to take a relook at strategies, relook at some of the technological advancements that we wanted to put in more efforts. Because one is, yes, content consumption was happening consistently, but yes, and we were growing, certainly, and we got a very viral kind of impact when we conducted this Voice of Chennai event, in our curated platform. So it gave a phenomenal mindshare visibility. People are looking for content, alternative content beyond just the Facebook's, social medias of the world. And positive news was always hard to come by. So this probably created that, minimalistic positive impact. So we could definitely have growth from that perspective.
Sure. Interesting perspectives. These days, be positive has a different meaning altogether. Right. All right. Moving to Sundarajan, how has the shared office space been evolving last 6-7 months? You're on mute, sir. Okay, I'm still not able to hear you. I think there's a little bit of an audio challenge.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some issues. There are 6 companies, including us. One is my own company, as a software company. There are 6 companies are working with the shared office. Out of which 3 of them are clearly said that we are closing it. Okay. 3 of them clearly said that it is starting, and then we are equipped. We can work from home. Our guys can go back to their hometown, and then they can work on it. Another 2 of them have faced a problem because they have large PCs. They are working on animation projects. The PC configuration is very high, and it is very difficult to have that kind of configuration in a laptop. It is very expensive. So they have a desktop in place, and it is difficult to shift, and it needs a lot of backups, and needs a lot of, it has to be kept in proper place, ACs, etc., etc. At least they requested me, at least 3 of them wants to continue in office. There's another company which they want. I work with a very smaller and tiny startups. So the maximum number of seats a company occupy is only 5. Okay, there's a small companies only approaches us. They look for a value in this, and 2 companies wants to continue. So I have a challenge in this, whether to continue breaking the rules of the government. Number 1, there is a bright chance that I may get arrested. I don't know what will happen. The kind of messages is coming out is very, very dangerous, and we don't know what to happen. So we sit together with the owners or CEOs of the smaller startups and identify a solution. 3 from animation team and 2 software developers are stayed in the office for 4 months. They stayed in the office, and we provided the food. We arranged the food nearby places, and it is very close by. There we found one cater who can easily come and give the food to them. That's the only guy who is allowed inside. The security wala will sit there. The security also stayed there, one security, and we locked the door, and 2 companies survived the 5 months. With they can manage the show, they can deliver it. So it is closed but not closed. The facility is closed, but 2 people are inside, unofficially worked. That's what happened. That's
sure. I think this is a typical out of the box solution. I think you changed the whole meaning of work from home to live at office. I think LAO is the new framework.
Officially, it is closed. We put a board saying it is closed officially. But there are 5-member team. I understand them because the large PCs they have, each and every PC is 1 lakh to 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees, biggest configuration of animation team. All 3 of them, 24/7, they stayed. And then we can able to communicate to their home, convince their home. They are staying in the same place. Remember, rest of Tamil Nadu are very safe. Only Chennai. Chennai is a very, very dangerous zone at that time. When the pandemic starts, the Chennai is a very dangerous zone at that time. And rest of Tamil Nadu are very free. They are very happy with that. Incidentally, all 3-member team who are staying in there are all from rest of Tamil Nadu, deep south Tamil Nadu. So the parents are asking them and then say, resign the job, come out. Do not worry about the job. I will feed you. Don't stay in Chennai. And then we end up in convincing the parents saying that do not worry about this. This place is very safe. We will not allow anybody outside. The food is very hot. Though the corona will not stay in the food, etc., etc., etc. It is really a nice journey for the first 2 weeks of time. And it is interestingly, I don't know much about what is going to come, but I'm giving the confidence to others. That's the interesting thing.
Sure,
That's what happened.
Yeah.
So interesting experience.
Thank you for sharing that. Coming to you, Pushpak, how have things been last 6-7 months for you?
So see, we are into the trading space. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So we are into the trading space, and unfortunately, COVID has actually been a blessing in disguise for us. So for the entire trading space, I mean, if you look at the stock markets, not even a single day has the market been off. I mean, I think that is one of the very few industries which have not switched off even for a day in the entire pandemic. And I mean, although the stock market crashed when the lockdown was declared, I mean, people felt that it's another 2008 coming up. But then if you see now, it's recovered. It has recovered all the time. And now in just early November, it's back to where it was in January. Moreover, so what has happened is in this time, the financial literacy of people has increased greatly. So a lot of people have started coming into the trading industry, and they've realized that you need to put your money in the right place, because you never know when a next pandemic will come. So the financial literacy, if you look at the financial literacy quotient in India, it has gone up significantly. Every player who is in the industry has done great business, because if you look at the brokers, for example, a large number of demat accounts have been opened there. We are a trading platform which we connect to the brokers, and we provide algo trading services to our customers. So it's been a great business for us. Even the ones who are in learning, who are giving education in the trading or stock market industry, they have grown. So this entire industry has been, you can say, unfortunately, the reasons were wrong, but they have grown tremendously here in this past 6 to 7 months. And for us, so we were a startup. We were just less than 10 folks there in Jan or Feb. I mean, when the pandemic, when the lockdown was imposed, and so our entire development. I mean, we were not funded at that point of time. So our entire development has happened during the pandemic, and we launched our products in August, and just in 3 months we even got funded. So and we have just in 3 months we have registered some 1200 plus clients, and this has all happened because COVID, the pandemic has forced people to think in the right way, that where you want to put in the money. Everyone has started becoming very active, and one difference in what we are doing and what AlgoBulls is doing is we are into the trading part. We are not into investment. So the small difference here is, for investment you make money only if the market is going up. You cannot make money if the market is going down. But for trading, you can make money even if the market is going up. You can make money even if it is going down. So people have realized the importance of trading over investment, and mutual funds and other forms of investment are not giving that good returns lately. So a lot of you can see a lot of very strong shift in the crowd there in the financial industry. People are moving from investment to trading. New guys are coming in. People who are passing out from college are starting immediately when they don't have a background. So for us,
Right.
it has been a great this thing. uh, Unfortunately, the reasons are wrong, but it's been great for us, and we even got funded, and we are looking to grow. We're expecting a good
Great.
growth in the coming months. Yeah.
I'm sure you had a great Diwali and an early Christmas coming for you.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a big spike in demand for demat accounts. A lot of demat accounts opened
Yeah, absolutely.
last.
Yeah, last 6 months.
Great. So, right, raise your hand if you see the second half of the financial year is going to be much better for you. All the panelists, if you think the second half of this year is okay, that every hand goes up. Brilliant, brilliant. That's good to know. So, green shoots coming up. Vikas, you see the green shoots. We going back to the normal revenues coming up.
Yeah, so because we really spiked up in the first H1, right? And so somewhat the COVID products has started to go down because it's become the mass commodity, and we are really
Right.
not focusing on the COVID product because we were a brand, right? So if we were selling our mask for say $500, so people are now selling it for 5 rupees. So definitely the COVID products we are not focusing on. But our core product, which all are towards feminine hygiene, we see a huge turnaround in terms of adoptability and repeat. So yes, as economy is opening up, not only in domestic but internationally as well, I think there will be an upside because every one of us in the bottom of the curve, right? There's only two way to go up, either left or right, but it's up. So we will be going up. I think each and every business present here, there's only way is going up. So yes.
Right. Thank you for sharing that sentiment. As they say, if you're at rock bottom, the only way to go is go up. And I think we are in that phase. Dr. Ramalingam, specifically with respect to COVID tests, do you see that the number of cases are decreasing? If I
Yes,
can get from your perspective, and do you see a recovery happening financially for a lot of businesses?
exactly. Exactly. Regarding the COVID, when we started the COVID testing, the positives are 70% in the testing. Total percentage of the testing will be 70%. We started. Say for example, 100 patients we collected samples, 70 members are positive. It's the month of May, June, July like that. After that, now it has dropped down to 1%. 1% positive now we are recording. For example, not even 1% you can tell. It is very, sometimes some days we are not getting positives. So it is drastically reduced, no doubt about that. The pandemic, whether the patient, the spreading nature of the disease was spread because the mutation, the virus is getting mutated on every cycle. The contagion, the spreading nature of the virus also has come down, and that may be another reason. And at the same time, the businesses recovery also started because now the public thinking that the health is the main issue. They want to make them fit. That means they want to keep their health status good condition. So in that, diagnostic center also playing a main role, keep on checking their diabetic status. People who are having a heart problem, they will be checking their health conditions regularly. So they started to have the services as yearly, and it was recovering. But same time, during the pandemic also, I want to register here that certain incident that even though we are not running the entire show, but as Sir told previously about his Chennai's experience, we also got some dedicated employees who retained with us during the pandemic. Even though they are from different part of the country, they didn't leave the laboratory. So basic analysis and all we are doing that time. And the only thing is we are new startup. The permission it's delayed for us for the testing the COVID. We started testing only in the month of June, July. So that time itself, the COVID is in the peak time, and our staff all are supported well that time. Even the very less people are there, they are supported well. They stayed in the laboratory, just like I told. We also provide the same kind of support for them, and we also stayed with them and giving the confidence to them. And after that, people are started coming back, and now the entire operation was started. And we hope that the mm, the performance will be much more better than the last year, because now the public concern for the health is very important. They're thinking now they themselves want to do a lot of checks, and they want to make them to fit so that they should not be a prey for any other infections like that. So it's a good sign. We are thinking that will be happens. And but same time, the people also very much, the public also very much fed up because of the COVID. They lost their jobs. Some people lost their business. All those things. Now they are actively concentrating on their own comeback on track. So after that,
Right.
definitely there will be a good rise in healthcare industry. There will be a good rise in the business. That's what we.
Sure. Absolutely. I think all of us want 2020 to get over just about 20, 25 days and then get into 2021 with a fresh start. Sundarajan was talking about, living at office, and that brings me to my next question. How many of you think work from home is here to stay? It's going to be permanent. Raise your left hand. Raise your right hand if you think once the vaccine is out, we are all going to go back to our offices. Okay. And give me a namaste if you think it's a hybrid model. Okay, left hand work from home,
Already
right
working.
hand.
We are not expecting any vaccine. Our healthcare industry cannot stay home and work. Same time, we have to wait also. It can't be
I
done.
understand that. But I want to see the hands go up. Right hand work office, left hand work from home, and hybrid namaste. So I think everyone, Vikas, where are you on this? Okay, it's a
So,
hybrid model. Everyone
so
has.
hybrid, but I'll say that more towards 90% towards work from office.
You're a proponent of people actually coming to office and working. Is that what you think is more productive?
Absolutely.
Okay. Interesting. I'm going to take that question to Sundarajan because you're in that space. I'm sure you would want people to go back to shared offices. What makes you think that, you yourself, in fact, said a hybrid model? How will this hybrid model work? As in, is the work from home and office is going to be like a flexible kind of a system?
This is my guess only. 80% or 70 to 80% from office and 30% from home will work. Mostly nowadays, the people whom in our shared office, those who are housewives and other people, they said they may not come back to office again. They prefer to work from home. Okay, 70% of office will be from 70% of the workforce will be coming from to office and then work. 30% work from home. That too depends on industries. For example, as I said, the animation industry cannot survive in the work from home model. It is impossible for them, even though they are working for a software. In a software, they cannot survive in the home. They have to come to office only to be productive. So,
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Shyam, what about, like sector like manufacturing? In fact, Dr. Ramling was talking about healthcare, which is very manpower intensive. You need man on the floor. But a lot of other, functions like marketing, sales, a lot of it can be done work from home. What's your take on that?
Oh, certainly. For example, if you ask me, we are looking at post March, maybe a 50-50 kind of a scenario. It depends on the businesses. Typically, it could be 70-30, 30-70. But I understand, I think the recent talk with the Volvo CEO, where he had clearly mentioned, Volvo has a massive manufacturing operations where people need to physically present. and they are looking at most majority of the work to be happening from home, from 2021 and beyond. So over the next 3-4 years, so the dynamics are changing quite a bit. It's very simple. Of course, productivity certainly is an aspect to look at it, but if you have touch points to find out, instead of productivity, I would say the completion of tasks within a stipulated time. So instead of 8 hours, if it is okay to spend 10 hours or 11 hours to complete it, rather than you finish off the work by 7:30, unless it is like a BPO time bound, I think if it is manageable outside, people can have better quality of life. That stems from the fact I have a reason to give, just not an assumption, because you are looking at today's workforce, which are very different from our workforce, right? We have worked in corporate for 20 odd years, and then now we are running the company for 7 years. So every one of us, most of us have 25, 30 years, experience behind us. Our generation worked typically for, building up assets, wealth, and things like that, because we practically, most of us, did it from scratch, from ground zero. The next generation, which are already there, I'm talking about the 90s, okay, 80s, 90s, the parents have taken care most of the stuff, which means their outlook is completely different than what it used to be, what we had the thought process. So I think it's about better quality of life, better opportunities, and better exposure is what they will be looking at it. And if this balance of remote and then office work combo will work, then I think it will save a lot of time in terms of transiting back and forth to offices. Unless and until, yes, healthcare workers, you need to be physically present. Manufacturing of operations, the plant and machinery, you will physically need it. But a large number of other operations, I think a combination of these 2 days and 3 days. In fact, right now I'm doing 1 day work from office and 4 or 5 days remote working, and that too only for meetings and stuff like that. That's working really very effective, because we're bringing in inclusiveness in the team, at the same time making sure there's a progress, in the goals and numbers that we are looking at. So I think it's going to be a hybrid.
Very interesting perspective in terms of how you've shown that this generation, their needs, their wants are very different from what it was earlier, and how work from home is something that can actually cater to that. In fact, if you're in a city like Bangalore, where I am, you typically save 3 hours of traveling. I'm not sure about Chennai, but the Bangalore traffic is not very kind to us. Pushpak, your team has been working from home. You're largely a technology company, so I believe that is something that would come easy for you.
Yeah, right. So actually, as Sundarajam sir or Vikas sir said, right? So it depends more on the team. So for example, if you look at the tech team, right? So if you look at the IT industry has been doing work from home for a very long time. I mean, most people have got to know work from home due to pandemic. But like myself, I was working in Bangalore for 5 years. We used to take work from home for very different reasons, of course. Like we had to take care of something at home, and maybe some maid or some service, and we used to take work from home. So work from home is something which the IT industry is very comfortable with. So people who are in the tech or the development part, they have anyways been used to it. They have been taking it. And I mean, if you look at companies like Google India had declared work from home till the end of 2020 in the month of March itself, and they have now extended to next year. So for the tech guys, it's very easy. But when it comes to teams like operations, wherein you need to understand what's happening in real time in the customer's account. Like for example, we are into trading business, and time is very critical for us to make sure that the trades are going at the right time for our customers. So the team which takes care of it, the operations team, they would like to be together, as Vikas sir had mentioned, right? The efficiency is very high there. So it largely depends on the team. So I personally look after majorly on the tech side and maybe on the business relations. But the tech side, we guys are very comfortable. We work usually on a weekly or a bi-weekly goal model. We meet once in a week or twice in a month, set goals, and then we are all off to working independently. So for us, work from home is a bliss, because we save time on traveling and all. But for folks who are into operations or maybe into customer support, they have to constantly interact with each other to know how the systems are working, what's the status of the market. So for them, as Vikas sir said, it's very important to stay together so the efficiency is highest. So I think, coming back, it's a hybrid model which will work. One model will not work for anyone. It's a combination of both.
Right. In fact, in the last CXO talk, there was a gentleman who was from the manufacturing space, and there's something called as VAL, virtual assembly line. So breaking the machinery into different parts, and those parts are moved to the homes of workers, and everyone's producing parts, and that's how it's happening. So there is disruption happening probably even in traditional, so-called manufacturing kind of an environment. Very interesting the way things are unfolding. Vikas, I'll come to you. Shyam was talking about technology, and how have you leveraged technology last 6-7 months? Did you do something which you never thought you will do in 2020? Like, at least in the auto industry, people never thought they'll buy cars with the click of a button, right? In the last 6-7 months, anything? How have you leveraged technology and something that you did which you never thought will happen so fast?
I think work from home has been there for a long time in the IT industry. Like especially when I used to be living in the US, it was very common, And the same time, the staff and the subordinates or the peers in India, when they do say work from home, then we question: is it work from home or work for home, right? So that has been the way people looked at it, because you need maturity to understand that yes, it is just not relaxing day. It's not an off day. You are trying to do something else, right? I think with the pandemic, the maturity levels also have suddenly picked up. I'm sure that wouldn't have already otherwise happened. And I'm a strong believer that people have to come into office. I believe in discipline. I know starting the day is very, very critical, because we plan the whole schedules based upon people's availability and things like that. At the same time, if they don't do, communicate so that we plan accordingly. Now, coming back during these last 6-7 months, we have enabled the systems in such a way that even with remote working, it could have been made possible. As I said, 2 weeks before the lockdown, we could actually create systems and place. In 2 days' time, we created system because they're already existing. It's a smaller team for Voxit. So that way, people stayed there. And once the lockdown was lifted, people immediately moved to other locations, remote locations, their hometowns, tier 2, tier 3. So from a nucleus-based organization, we suddenly became an atomic-centric organization. Everybody spilled over everywhere like atoms. And you had infrastructure issues like Sundar talked about, typical. It's not only the system, but the power, the other infra to back you to ensure that you are able to work remotely. So we created very simplistic systems in WhatsApp itself, Telegram, WhatsApp kind of thing, in terms of registering attendances and tracking how people are figure out, so that everybody is clearly aligned in terms of what is coming in and what is the sequence and things like that. So there are no gaps in terms of communicating when people are working remote. So we were able to build in that systems, very simple things like WhatsApp, Google's Drives and all of that. So we don't actually need to spend a penny to build a technology for these kind of things. Of course, you have this task management tools and for a management eye view that will help you to assign tasks and things like that. So we had some system, but we started to focus a little more actively on that.
Right. Interesting. Something as simple as WhatsApp can go a long way in making sure the communication is real time. It's as fast as you want it to be. Vikas, your perspectives, how have you leveraged technology over the last 6-7 months?
No, we being a D2C company, a product company, FMCG product company, definitely technology doesn't come in much in a role, but I can say that 11 million families bought smartphones from March to November. Means more and more people are shopping online. So we use technology to reach to them. So we invested heavily on our data and on how we can reach onto their phone when they are consuming, not only for education, but for social media as well, because they were consuming a lot of data in terms of the movies, musics, or talking to someone else. So we use technology to increase our D2C sale, so we are more towards a hybrid model. So 60% of our sales used to come from offline and 40 from online. And within this last 8-9 months, we have gone actually 50-50 because offline also works well. So yes, so I can also say that we use technology to reach to those new customers in tier 3 and tier 4 cities. So that's good for us.
Sure. So it's like a level playing field now. It's become even more flatter.
Yeah.
Great. Dr. Ramalingam, how did you leverage technology? I know it's a very personal space, as in you come in, get tested and you go, but how did you leverage technology, if at all you did?
It comes to the health sector, the technology means only in the diagnostic side. The technology means that only we are making the B2B sale increase in the technology. For example, the reports, the test reports will be uploaded in the server, our own server. So they can access from their own place with a password, user ID password. They can access their sample status, whether tested or not, completed or not, like that. they can see the results, view the results. Further on, that the clinicians will take the decision as early as possible. Previously, the report should reach them by mail or some like that. Nowadays, now that easy technology is by through the online web-based reporting systems. The web-based reporting system is more helpful in diagnostic field to reach the diagnostic report to the clinicians so that the decision making is easy for them immediately. And in addition, we got now WhatsApps, all these social media WhatsApps, we are sharing the reports. And mainly regarding this client, means custom patients who want to take the samples nowadays, they are not willing to come to lab because of a lot of medicine. Now it's a COVID. So there is a sample collection teams are tied up with advanced technology software so that the app-based tracking system for the collection person who coming from the lab, the patients can track where is he now, whether he's reaching the home, how much time he can take to reach to take the blood sample, so that whether he can stay with the fasting condition or he can have a tea coffee. All kind of this type of technology is only supporting us, but not in the testing system. We are entirely dependent upon the equipments in technology quality of the testings only. Right, so ours is only no online business or offline business only, because we are not doing any work from home this thing. At the same time, we want to collect the sample and do the process in the lab, and we are giving the results. Only thing is the pre-analytical and post-analytical we used to tell. Pre-analytical means before testing, the collecting sample, processing, all those things, and post-analytical. These are some technological improvement. In the analytical process, it is mainly depends upon the new technologies in the testing system. That it due course it was complete. Every time it is updated, we are updating with the technologies. For example, previously the testing has to be done in half an hour. Now it takes in 2 minutes. To test glucose, previously if it takes half an hour. Now it has 2 minutes. Methodology has improved. Like that, the technology increases the TAT, that is called turnaround time of the testing. TAT is getting decreases now. The technology help us to reduce the TAT. How much the TAT is reduced, the patients will get benefit, because the results, how fast you get results, your doctor will start the treatment. So there we encashing the technology to convert into the patient's treatment benefits. In that way only we have the technology was.
Sure. So it's largely technology is an enabler right now in your case, whether it comes to publishing the results and obviously the core testing part of it. Pushpak, anything that you did, of course, as I said, you are part of a technology platform, but in terms of collaboration, any technology that you used has really helped you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we are largely a tech focused company. So we were leveraging tech, but yeah, when it came to collaboration, right? So in our industry, I mean the financial services industry, right? Traditionally, it was so when we had to get deals done with, let's say, brokers. So it was considered a respect to meet someone in person, go to their office, get an appointment, wait, then talk to them and get the time, then go for a deal. So the collaboration process was very time consuming, and especially in Mumbai, it's just like Bangalore. I mean, it's very difficult to go from one end of Mumbai to other end of Mumbai. Okay, so the time involvement in doing collaborations was quite high. But now due to the pandemic, what has happened is now everyone is open to coming on Zoom or Meet. Now the concept of not being respectful or not giving out special time for someone to come and visit their office is now gone. So now everyone is open to coming up on a call. So that's why the number of collaborations which we are doing went significantly higher. Like we are able to do 4 to 5 calls also in a day. Earlier we could only do one because you have to travel and go there. And now I think thanks to the pandemic, people have understood that meeting online is not disrespectful. I mean, especially for this industry. So this will continue even if people resume their regular life post pandemic. I think this would be a very good benefit which we have got from COVID times, that people are willing and open to come. Even investors have come online and talk to us. I mean, that's such a big deal. But the thing of meeting in person is gone now. So I think that's the best use of technology which we have had in pandemic, which was different from earlier times.
Right. This is the age of Zoom selling, digital selling. So are you trying to tell me, Pushpak, we can raise $1 million over a Zoom call?
People are doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sundarajan, I'm going to flip the question a bit. All of us have spoken about how technology has helped us, with business continuity planning. So a lot of things are moving online, a lot of things are moving to the cloud. That also increases the risk of cyber attacks, right? You've been in the software space for a very long time. Of late, we've seen a lot of reputed organizations, their databases being hacked. So are Indian businesses, SMEs ready for this tech challenge, or do you think we are way short of dealing with these risks right now?
I will answer this in twofold. One is, if you are talking about security of the data, etc., and it is comparatively very stable. If you go for if you take AWS, Amazon, okay, Amazon is a large organization which gives you a lot of security about that. Probably slightly costlier, right? And one of the experience I had in the last 8 months, I will share for the benefit of others. There are a lot of videos and audios has to be uploaded. There are people working inside the office, staying and working inside the office. The approval people are staying at home, not seeing the data. That is a problem which they are facing it. They create a lot of videos and audios, large files, large outputs, but the people, those who are approving or reviewing, are sitting in the remote corner of Tamil Nadu. So initially they come up with the concept of AWS. They take a small space in AWS and then upload and download. The cost prohibitive. So large data, cost is prohibitive. So we have come up with a simple solution. In YouTube, you have a private channel, which is free. Upload everything in the YouTube as a YouTube channel. Nobody have an access. Only 5-6 people have an administrative access. They see the data and then call them and then say, hey, this change is second, change is second, change is second, that kind of stuff. It works perfectly well, zero cost. No AWS or no cloud cost. So they put everything in the YouTube and manage the show. So it's kind of how you are approaching the problem. There are ways to manage.
Sure, there are always ways to do that. I'm sure a lot of businesses, small and medium businesses can make use of a lot of tools which are encrypted.
Amal, sorry to interrupt. Just want to complete that. In YouTube, if you are adding it, public can see it. Then you lose your IP because you cannot claim that as an IP, right? So that is a problem of that output. But when you use it as a private, nobody can see it. Only your team can see it. That is, they used as an common space for collaborative working. YouTube has converted as a common space for collaborative working for animation industry. That's a very interesting thing which has happened in front of me. That just want to share the unique idea with you.
Sure. Thank you for bringing that up. Pushpak, you also deal with a lot of confidential data, right, in the trading space. Do you think, again, Indian startups are prepared with respect to handling that risk?
So yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, the more we are moving towards online, the risk obviously goes high. So the moment you get famous, let's say you have raised a good round or you have got a good customer base, the moment you're in the news, the chances or the probability of your systems being hacked goes up. So that risk is definitely there. But as Mr. Sundarajan said, right, that if you use the right technology, for example, if you use AWS or Google Cloud, right, these guys are coming up and doing helping you with the job of making your site secure much easier. So there is definitely a learning curve for that. Not everyone can do it, but it is still easier than managing it on your own 100%. If you use the proper tools and systems, you can still do it. But yeah, agree. I mean, the risk is always there because it's a complex world, and penetration testing. There are a lot of concepts out there. Which even AWS might not help you directly. So if you are planning to become very famous, I would recommend that you should get your site certified by some expert hacker that okay, it's a hack proof. So the risk is always there.
Sure. I think this is a lesson for a lot of SMEs, to not look at cybersecurity as a great thing to have, but it's a mandatory, it's a to-do thing on your list. One strategy that's worked for you that you would want to advise anyone who's viewing this or any entrepreneur, who's starting off. Vikas, one strategy that's worked for you that you can share as an advice to budding entrepreneurs. Sorry, Vikas, you're on mute. If you could unmute yourself.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Even after 9 months of Zoom, we always forget that we are on mute.
Yeah.
No, so it's always about team. So I always believe that if you can take care of your team in the dire situation, I think they will come back and support you. So for all the budding, entrepreneurs, be honest to yourself. Invest in your team. Hiring is the most difficult. Even it's more difficult than raising a fund or even So hire good people. I think that's most important. I think if you hire good people, funding will come, your operation will be okay. So and do take care of your team. I think that's what I've learned in over 23 years of my entrepreneurship journey. So I have people who've been working with me for more than 20 years now. So yes, I think team is what you need.
Sure. So build people of your organization, and these people will actually build the organization.
Absolutely. So you build leaders and they build teams. So you don't be. So that's very important. Build leaders. It's very very seldom we see in corporate world that executive build leaders. They build employees. So start building leaders. And if you can build leaders, your work will be like to take only one decision a day. And I think after a certain point of time, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, only take one decision a day and leave everything to team.
Interesting. That reminds me of Jack Welch's quote. When he was made the CEO, he was asked, "What's the most important thing that you will be doing right now?" He said, "To find a successor." And that was when he stepped into office. Very interesting story. So, Vikas, if I can ask you this, in a day, where does most of your time go into? What's that one big task that you spend most of the time in the day?
So, I have multiple business. So I run 4 business simultaneously. My major task is actually talking to the. So apart from Peesafe, is 4 other businesses. So I think the most important time which I spend is that 15 minutes or maybe 16 minutes where I talk to 4 minutes to each of my CEOs. I think that's where the most important. That's it. What's your challenge you are facing? What was your wins and how I can help? I think that's the 3 questions I ask them on a daily basis. That's it.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Great. Dr. Ramalingam, one key strategy that's worked for you last 6-7 months that you would want to advise anyone who is listening to us?
Yes, exactly. Our company startup also only 1 year. So the main key factor is QSA. We believe our company believes, myself, my promoter believes, company believes. QSA. Q stand for quality. S stand for service. A stand for affordability. The quality, service, affordability is good. You can compete anyone. So yours quality is best, no problem in the public's this thing. And at the same time, service. Nowadays, the quality is not even the service. For example, in case of the healthcare industry, service is more. The quality of the treatment, how more important, same time service. The service comes through team, not a single person. So even quality as well as service comes to a team. And affordability, that the person able to afford that test should be affordable for them. So that's just because you are providing the quality, just because you are providing service, you cannot hike the price, and that will be another. So we believe only this QSA policy, and there we succeed here, and we also succeed in further also. So that's the key words we are having. US.
I like that acronym QSA. Shyam, I know you as a startup expert. You advise, consult a lot of startups. So, what would be your key message to entrepreneurs?
Okay, so 4 messages. Number 1, yes, nothing happens without the people. So human capital. I look at the cultural fit more than the skills that come in, because culture eats strategy for breakfast. So that's the key that I always look at. The second thing is whether it's to build a brand or whether it's to get your customers or engage with people, use online marketing. I'm a strong advisor of digital marketing myself. So any business, whether it's a grocery or a kirana stores or a manufacturing or IT, non-IT, I think people have to definitely leverage online, because you have to be present where your customers are. And it's a brilliant mode, very cost-effective, targeted. Number 2. Number 3, one of the most important aspect is I keep asking not only my team or the startups that I mentor, what is the value that your product or service is actually creating? And what is the impact that is actually delivering in the marketplace? if you are able to answer these two, I think the success quotient straight away moves up exponential. Most of them don't realize this. It's very simply said, but if you realize what we are talking about, I think it's huge. And fourth, most important, I don't look at number of cases and stuff like that. Stop consuming negative news. It's all in your mind, right? The moment you cut off all the crap and keep looking at the positive aspects and build your vision, I think that itself can actually propel you, not only now, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, I think this is more critical even now. So that way, not that I'm running Voxit, but that's the very purpose it serves as well. You know, a lot of interesting and updated, curated news. People say it gives us a lot of motivation. You know, we keep listening to it. So those are my 4 quick take.
Sure. I think we should call you for a separate session. I think this is something that we all should need to hear at this point of time. Thank you for sharing that. Sundarajan, one key takeaway from your end. I love your smiling attitude. You're always smiling. What is it? Yeah.
As Vikas has said, people. That's it. Even it's the worst period, we didn't allow our best people to go out of us. I'm talking about our software company, and we have a tough time in paying them. There is a financial crunch has happened. We have come across now, but we have happened. So we discuss with our team and then say all of them has taken a pay cut with only one trade-off. 1 year down the time, I will double your whatever the pay cut you take, I will double it. You are investing on the company. That is what we discussed with them. We agreed. None of them has moved away. Now everybody stayed with us. As Vikas has said, investing on people. That is very important. That's what I think.
Sure. Investing in people. I think that's a common thing that I'm getting to hear from all the panelists. Pushpak.
Yeah, so I have 2 points, and mainly I would like to speak for those who are early in their journey, maybe who are starting just now looking for the co-founders, or maybe they have started working on the product. So first point is common, as Mr. Vikas and Sundarajan said, that you need a great team. So for early stage startups, you need great co-founders whom you can back on. There is no need for everyone to be from IIT or everyone to be from IIM. That's not a requirement. I mean, look for a team where everyone brings in their own unique skill set on the table. You need to have orthogonal skill sets. Don't bring overlapping skill sets here. So have a great team, and personally for us, I'll just take 10 seconds of time here. So when we started, I mean, earlier we were talking to investors earlier based on our idea, but we could not convince any of them. Then we were forced to work. So we had a complex product to build, and we wanted a team. So that's why we were looking out for investors, but we couldn't convince them without a product. Even an MVP didn't do justice for them. So it turned out that we had to build the entire systems from scratch. We literally worked for 18 plus hours for months during the pandemic. And we eventually got our product out in August. And within 3 months, we got the funding as well. But the bottom line here is we couldn't have done this if we didn't have a team, because going on for stretches without any rewards is very difficult single-handedly. If you have people to fall back to discuss with them, that would help you survive in the game for a longer time, and you can eventually make it. So have a great team, have folks you can back on. That's one. Second thing is for tech guys, mostly if you're building some tech, please try to build tech in-house. Don't rely on third-party services. Don't try to build on something which is already there outside, because then you lose your USP. The learning curve is obviously difficult to build something in-house, but believe me, the rewards are great. Once you have built something in-house, it's your own. The ability to scale, the ability to change, the ability to adopt is very high as compared to the case when you rely on third-party products to build your own. So don't do that. Don't do the bridging part. Build your core stuff, and the reward definitely helps with time. Trust me. That's it. That's my 2 cents for this topic.
Sure, that was indeed very insightful. So I won't believe what you said in the start, that I don't have much to share. I think if we just follow that part, a lot of things will be taken care of. Kshitish, I'll come to you. How can Tata Tele Business Services help a lot of SMEs and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, wonderful views all across, and definitely Tata Tele has been doing a lot of pioneering work. It is one of the oldest service providers in the country from a telecom standpoint. And over a period of time, it has released a lot of industry-first solutions, services around telecom space, definitely. It is all possible because revolving around the customer centricity, where we started off saying that how do we really make products, because voice and data happen to be the two biggest islands, but every segment has a different way to use the same voice and data. For example, Pushpak might use it because he requires a very low latency product, right? Because that's the important, time is essence for them. For example, if you look at Mr. Ramalingam, for him, Dr. Ramalingam, he requires it in a different form and shape. For him, though time is essence for him from a perspective of conducting tests, but making it available online to somebody else is in a different form and shape is because so the web-based services are very important for them. So what we have done over a period of time, we have created these, out of these two big islands, we have created many small islands, which are revolving around very small use cases. Recustomizing our products and services in such a way that though the core value proposition remains on voice and data, it appeals to a particular segment and take it to they can adapt to that particular to that. So we have recently, if you look at the post-pandemic, when everything went into a lockdown kind of a situation, we had to really our core value proposition was enterprise, right? Saying that how do I take big fat pipes also to large enterprises, but the campuses are now suddenly empty, and if the campuses are empty, the product value proposition has to change. And that's how Tata Tele Services has changed its value proposition, made it more sachet, made it more work from home rather than work from a BPO, kind of agent working from a BPO campus versus agent working from his home. Enabling that kind of product proposition is where Tata Tele Services plays a big role. And all the experiences which were experienced were shared by all the panelists here, extremely valuable. Extremely, we work with especially I work with startups in all the segments which are represented here on a daily basis. We exchange notes with them as well, and we see how can we further make our products and services more aligned to them, right? So that's how Tata Tele plays that role in the journey of startups as well.
Sure. Thank you, Kshitish, for sharing that. I have one last question before I wrap up the discussion. You're all business leaders across different industry verticals. What is that one thing you read or watch to keep yourself updated about business? What you read, watch, or who your influences are as well when it comes to business? Probably I'll start with you, Shyam. I'm sure you have your answer ready.
No, I didn't have the answer ready, but I'm just thinking on the fly. Yes, I read McKinsey a lot, and then there's one interesting thing that came up. It says the businesses are all under stress, right? Only with stress, muscle gets built, right? So this is the time that you actually build up your entity or get a solid foundation of your business and your product in the marketplace. There could be no better time. So instead of thinking like a stress, it's actually getting you prepared for the 2021 and beyond. So I am all for welcoming the new normal.
Great. So McKinsey is something that you follow closely. Any influencer out there that you constantly follow and learn from?
I think a specific right from Kawasaki to I think 40, 50 of them I read randomly at every point in time. So nothing specific. I mean, I'm a voracious reader, so I keep doing that.
Great. Of course, Guy Kawasaki, there's so much to learn from him. Love his videos on YouTube. Pushpak?
Yeah. So honestly, I haven't reached that stage where people say that CEOs read 60 or 50 books a year. I haven't reached that stage yet, maybe because we're just growing. But one thing which I follow in and out is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a really great place to stay updated with what's happening in the industry. So I try to maintain an up-to-date profile there and try to get connected with as many people as possible. And there are a lot of senior folks out there who will, for example, Mr. Nitin Kamath from Zerodha, right? He's very active on LinkedIn, so he'll keep giving updates which give you a very good summary of what's happening in the trading industry. So we are up to date with that. Or let's say Mr. Motilal Oswal is very active in sharing positive quotes based on his experience as a leader. So I follow LinkedIn in and out, and my suggestion would be, if I think most industries are on LinkedIn these days. So if your industry is on LinkedIn, please try to follow folks who are the leaders. That way you get to stay updated with what's happening in the industry as well as their experiences. And that's like the latest thing. I mean, even before it comes out in news or anywhere else. I mean, I personally prefer LinkedIn that way.
Sure. LinkedIn is like your office corner right now, like the water cooler. You get the gossip as well as some really interesting news.
Yeah.
Great. Dr. Ramalingam?
Yes, if it comes to our field, it is not that any reading books, all those only happens only in the experience and exposure on this field, actually. And the same thing, we decided that if you want to persist in the field, we should have the exposure. Same time, we are the technical people. We came from this field. Actually, I'm a professor of biochemistry, working in a medical college. Later only I entered into this field. So the field where we are working, we are having we start up the business here. So here we most believe on our own exposure and experience on this, and we are further taking an example of certain big shots like who evolved in this field, like for example, Thyrocare founder Dr. Velumani. He also a similar type of a person who worked in the laboratory as an employee, and now he owning a big center in nationwide. So as a keeping us this a backup in the mind, and we are evolving in that way. But we are the technical people. We will do the best. So we are the CEOs now. We worked as an employee, and we are the CEO now. We know the pains and what are the parts and what to do, or how to manage the show, all those things. So with those confidence, we are traveling in the route. That's what makes us to do.
Sure. Experience is the best teacher. Thank you for sharing that. Sundarajan?
I generally read. I don't follow anybody individually. I generally read whatever comes to me, like Rediff or Asian Times Business, Rediff Business or Get Ahead, these kind of things I generally read. That helps me a lot.
Sure. So you're more of an online person, not a newspaper holding in newspaper. What kind of a person are you?
Books I used to read in books, but news items, business items, all those things I'll be reading it online.
Sure. I think that's where the trend is moving. Vikas?
Okay, so for me, FMCG is a new business which I'm learning. Started 7 years back, but actively 3 years. So for me, the only target is not to do something which people have already done it. So Unilever is where I keep my focus on. Anything which you want to learn about FMCG, product innovation, product packaging, and massive distribution, I think that's Unilever for you. So I keep on following Unilever's videos, case studies, research papers, white papers, books written by Unilever X, because they have the maximum CEOs in the world, which comes out of from Unilever. So yes, for me is stalking Unilever people, yes, and the work done by Unilever.
Quite interesting. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out and sharing your insights. It was indeed a very valuable discussion. A lot of insights for people who are viewing this. Can we give ourselves a big round of applause for making this happen? Thank you so much. I wish you all the abundance. May the next few weeks and months let us go back to the normal that we were used to. Keep smiling. And on behalf of the talk, I thank you for joining us today.